Kristin and I were just laughing here. We have viewers, and man, we have millions of viewers, and we really appreciate you guys watching. We don't have all the answers. I wish we had all the answers. We were talking about the metallurgists that write in and say, well, this pan sticks less, but it's the chemical on the pan. You know, we're going, okay. Now, someone has asked this, and I think this is pretty good. Pseudo grains, right? Pseudopods in medicine are the false feet, right, of the white blood cell as it moves around and scavenges. Pseudo, P-S-E-U-D-O, means false, so these are false grains. This question is good. I would like to see a program devoted to grains versus seeds, right? Because we tell people, stay away from grains. Yes. For a period of time, and I've been off grains for a long time, but for a period of time we want you off grains. But what about sunflower seeds? What about chia seeds? You know, what about the very things you brought in here? So go ahead, you're the pro.
Okay, so the question says, how do we know this is a seed and not a grain? So they're talking about these pseudo grains, the quinoa, the buckwheat, and the amaranth. She's saying a grain of wheat, oat, etc. grows a new plant like a seed. So we need to differentiate between the botanical family. A cereal grain, which is wheat, barley, millet, those things are cereal grain. These things are actual seeds. They're the pseudo grain family.
Okay.
So that's the difference. It's not that, you know, yes, those are seeds and we don't want to eat them. But the next question leads us to what promotes fungus and mycotoxins in grains? I'm sure that God did not make them this way.
No, man makes all the mistakes.
Yeah.
Believe me, God didn't make any mistakes. It's interesting that drought, flooding, or post-harvest is when these mycotoxins begin to grow. And by that, I mean, we had to begin feeding, you know, a couple thousand years ago, what, there are 18 people here. Now we have 350 million. We have to start storing our grains, and it's the silos, the little rain that gets in, the moisture, the heat, and the grain starts sweating, right? It's a sugar, and it can build mold in it. So when we eat that grain, we're also eating that mold. So that's where mycotoxins come from.
How they're stored. And they're in everything. It's just we get way, way too much. So the next question, she says, quinoa is a seed, are amaranth, buckwheat, and millet. Okay. So yes, those are all seeds, but again, the millet is actually in the cereal grain family. And so the quinoa, the buckwheat, and the amaranth are what we want to stick with for phase one. They're complete proteins, and everyone's different, you know. They're a great rice substitute, and you just
I'm looking at this. Many people love pasta, right? Yeah. So what is this okay?
So this would be a phase 2 pasta. A lot of the gluten-free pastas are made with corn. And it might say quinoa pasta, but always read the ingredients because corn is the first ingredient. So this brand right here, the Andean Dream, is made with rice. Okay. So rice and quinoa. So this is a really great tasting phase 2 pasta because it does have the rice. But the whole seed quinoa, and it comes in a lot of different forms. We have the creamy buckwheat, which is like a hot cereal. These come in flours that you can bake with, and then the whole seed forms. So lots of different options.
Lots of options. Remember that corn is universally contaminated with these fungal metabolites, so be very, very careful of corn in your product, okay? Wow, all these people with all these questions. Good for you guys. You're a sharp audience. Don't go away. More to come.